Hey everybody, for this installment in UFC Rivalries, we'll be examining Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz. The rivalry between Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz is probably the most popular rivalry in UFC history, and if not, it's definitely the highest selling. Conor McGregor had just bulldozed his way through the featherweight division, was on a staggering 15-fight winning streak, and was quickly becoming a household name after his championship win at UFC 194. At that point, he moved up to 155 pounds to challenge lightweight kingpin Rafael dos Anjos. Meanwhile, Nate Diaz was in a bitter dispute with the UFC for nearly all of 2015. In December of that year, shortly after McGregor knocked out Jose Aldo, Diaz returned to take on Michael Johnson, who was certainly a contender at the time. Diaz absolutely dominated the fight, consistently slapping and disrespecting Johnson throughout the affair. Afterward, he created the greatest post-fight call-out speech of all time, launching a verbal tirade against McGregor. In an interesting turn of events, Dos Anjos got injured, and Diaz accepted the fight with McGregor on only 11 days' notice. After a few amazing press conferences that have since become legendary, the stage was set for a fight that no one expected but everybody wanted. UFC 196. The fight began and McGregor pressured forward, landing hard shots and bloodying Nate Diaz. However, unlike some of McGregor's past opponents, Diaz did not fall. He kept swinging back and clinching with Conor. Nonetheless, McGregor certainly won the first round handily. At the start of the second round, it seemed like more of the same. But like I said, Diaz hung tough and kept landing strikes of his own. Midway through the round, Diaz poured the pressure on and landed a hard 1-2 that staggered Conor McGregor. From here, it was all downhill for the Notorious One. Diaz continued to land hard strikes at a distance and in the clinch. A desperate McGregor shot a haphazard takedown on the Jiu-Jitsu black belt, who then reversed it, mounted him, pounded away, and eventually sunk in a rear naked choke. It was a huge upset in some ways, but in some ways it wasn't because we knew Diaz was a dangerous opponent. Of course, the first fight was so good that we just had to see a rematch. Originally scheduled for UFC 200, some behind-the-scenes drama regarding promotional obligations for McGregor pushed the fight to UFC 202. Again, the press conferences were remarkable, particularly the abbreviated conference that ended with each fighter's team throwing Monster Energy cans, water bottles, and coffee cups at one another. At the start of the fight, it was Diaz who was a moderate betting favorite, and people generally thought he would be too much once again. This time, however, McGregor came in with a detailed game plan. He immediately began kicking Diaz's legs and, like the first fight, landed hard shots on the feet, even dropping Diaz multiple times in the first 2 rounds. It seemed like McGregor was on his way to a dominant performance. But again, just like the first fight, McGregor tired at the end of the second round. His output slowed and Diaz's increased. Now, the third round is where things really got bad for Conor McGregor. Diaz unloaded an unbelievable flurry of punches against the cage, and it looked like Diaz might have been on his way to ending the fight. In between rounds, McGregor looked drained on the stool, and I remember thinking that he wasn't going to survive the 4th round. But boy was I wrong. He came out and actually won the round, landing the cleaner shots on the feet, winning the clinch exchanges, and defending takedowns. In the 5th, Diaz likely edged the round, picking up the pace a little further and landing a great takedown as the fight closed. It was a razor-thin decision, but McGregor won a majority decision, and overall, I agree with the judges. Diaz has not fought since, despite some scheduled bouts, while McGregor went on to win the lightweight title against Eddie Alvarez, fought Floyd Mayweather in boxing, and lost his big comeback to Khabib Nurmagomedov in October of 2018 at UFC 229. If you ask me, a third match between these two is inevitable, and they'll certainly clash again before either guy calls it quits. Let me know if you want me to break down any other UFC or MMA rivalries, and if you like the production, please like and subscribe. Thank you.